This week, we do the Dance of the Dead, get all of our robots back in order, and... No! Don't do it, Notch! Get ready to hack and slash your way through episode 19 of the Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, it's JaShinYa, and this is episode 19. Man, we are out of high school. Good job, us.
We graduated. We're almost legally...
We're in...
long a drink something.
We're now in tech school. Episode 19, and it has been a trip already, and we're still so young. But what's been going on with you guys over the past week since the last episode?
I can't hear out of my right ear.
Well, it's probably a problem when you're doing something with audio, I would guess.
Yeah. No, it's so. For those of you who don't know, there's a duct behind your eardrum that drains into your throat, and I am very susceptible to like my ears popping and getting sick.
Rev like drains into your throat. He's not 31; he's 13.
Yeah. My sinuses get all messed up, and so sometimes an eardrum fills up with liquid. And there's nothing I can do about it other than either getting a surgery to drill through my eardrum to so I could get tubes in my ears, which I really don't want to do, or just wait for it to clear out in a few months. But hopefully, it's getting colder and winter's coming, so
I sure did.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to do that. Also,
accidental pop culture reference.
Yeah. Also, my grandmother is being an old person, and so this morning she went out and pre-ordered the new iPhone 6 Plus.
Oh, that
and I'm
poor
like,
old lady.
No, she only got it for like $100.
But my point is, it's like it's the new iPhone 6 now capable of doing what Android phones have done for the last 8 years.
Dude, and I've been in charge of making sure that her phone is set up throughout the years, because she's had an iPhone 4 or an iPhone 4.
That's just your job, is to maintain her cell phone.
Yeah, basically. And it's like, I use an Android phone, and I'll get on her phone like, oh yeah, I just need to change the settings. So I'd go into the app and I'd click the how do I get into the settings of this app? And then I realized I have to go to Home, Settings, Apps, find the app, go into the settings, and it's like, oh, why are you doing this to me? Why did you buy a new iPhone? And I'm like, you should buy, and like, she was gonna get a new phone. She's like, you should buy a Galaxy Note 4.
Yeah. And
she goes, no, I'm just gonna get the better one of this one. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, because
you hate me.
And it's like, I'm like, okay.
That's such a large phone, though. Like, I feel like
well, she's old. She needs the screen area.
Well, now that we've sufficiently made fun of old people.
No, I mean, like, she's been wearing glasses since she was like 25.
Also, your body has issues. You're falling apart, man.
Like my jaw. It's only my head. My jaw dislocates. Half of my ears half the time. That's why I hate the summer, because I get sick and stuff.
Well, how about you, Rev? Let's try and get this show done before tech dies.
Before tech falls apart on show.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot has been going on. I've was doing research for the show and all that. Did a lot of drinking this week. Did a lot of job hunting. Had an interview today that I'm not a very good fit for. Like I was saying before the show, they posted on a job board saying they were looking for technical support and such for a call center. And I hate call center work, but at this point I'm willing to suck it up and make money. So I go in there and no, they're not actually looking for technical support or IT. They're looking for tax preparation specialists. And so it's kind of like nowhere near anything
What?
that I'm capable of.
Did they not look at your resume, like your whole application? These are my skills. Oh, he'd be perfect for tax evasion or whatever the hell you're doing.
Exactly. So like I'm sitting there, they're extolling the virtues of this. There's a 10-week course that starts in November that's unpaid, and you got to spend $250 to buy the IRS updated tax manual, and training's unpaid, but then you can make a shit ton of money during tax season. And I was like, hey, that sounds great, but I do IT and support and things of that nature. What do you have there? And she's like, well, we have one person who's our internal IT, and they've got like 4 offices, and they're opening up a call center, and they have one person who has no, from what it was explained to me, has no formal IT experience. It's just kind of picked up on the run as he's going. And I was like, well, how about you forward my resume on to him and see if you guys would be interested in going that route. And then I got home and jumped on a couple of other jobs boards, because that's kind of my process. I get home from an interview and I start applying for others just in case, because no eggs in one basket type deal. Right. And put out 5 or 6 resumes, and I got 2 calls between the hours of 3:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. And I've got an interview set up with one company Monday afternoon at like 3 p.m. and an interview with another company set up for Tuesday at like 10 a.m. So
awesome. Things
are at least moving forward, even if
I hate when companies do that. They're like, oh yeah, we're looking for an IT specialist, and you go in and it's like, yes, we're looking for somebody to install some phones for us for $50.
Yeah, actually.
it's like, how many phones are there? 1,300.
For $50, yeah.
Yeah. When would I start? It's like, you would start at 11 p.m. On a Monday. And when does that end? 7 a.m. the next day.
Yep.
Oh, I'll be leaving now.
Pretty much. So other than that, not much has been going on. Just living the life, doing the research, and having a good time. We'll leave it at that.
That's the best time to have, is a good time, in my opinion.
So what's been up with you, Josh?
Oh man, I'm getting over a cold. That's why I'm like, and I'm like, my voice is starting to break during the intro and everything like that. I've got probably like a slightly deeper voice right now from being sick or whatever.
It's that morning voice.
And I have these waters that I just bought today, and they're like the just regular, like water, just regular water, spring water, whatever, in a bottle, and it smells like. It smells like the bottom of a public swimming pool. I just spilled some of it. I'm a little disappointed in this, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through the show. So I might have to like pull Lieutenant Dan just to tell you go on without me. Can't feel my legs, Sarge. Something. I don't know.
Get one of your kids to do the show for you.
That'll go well. Yeah.
Yeah.
The all like 10 words that she says.
That would be great, having an episode with Josh's newborn son, Reb's wife, and my girlfriend.
Oh,
just talking about.
No, that's actually a really good idea for a bonus episode or something.
Episode 20. That's what it's going to be.
Significant others of Indie Game Riot.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
That would just talk about a clusterfuck.
The whole thing's going to just be like them, like.
This.
Hey. Hi. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well.
But speaking of injecting new people into the show.
Speaking of injection into everything. No matter what the cost.
To you here.
Let me. That's
I'm just
not the right word, but
interject.
Indie News Injection is up next.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
So what happens when a large company gets bought by a larger company? This week, news got out that Microsoft might be buying Mojang for $2 billion. Yes, $2 billion.
With a B.
Ironically, with a B, yes.
Capital B.
The exact same number that Marcus Persson, or Notch, of Minecraft said in a tweet, I think last year, the price that he would start negotiating with when selling Mojang. So they've been in talks to sell to Microsoft, and people aren't really happy about it.
I can't blame them.
I mean, no, I can't either.
No, I mean, there's two sides of this, because I'm putting myself in his situation where if it was, like, first of all, as a Minecraft player, I'm like, keep it independent, because for one, I like independent games. There's less bullshit. But also, I mean, don't fix something that's not broken. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But on the other hand, if I put myself in the place of Notch, I'm like,
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
That's
I mean, but it's his baby. But $2 billion.
It's his
Josh,
baby that he handed off.
Well, yes, he still owns the company, but he doesn't really work for it anymore.
I guess that's true.
It's just sitting there on it. He's just sitting on the company with other people who have taken over his position.
I guess that's true. And at that point, why not take the $2 billion? But it's just, I can't even fathom the bullshit.
You know what? You know what's going to happen, and this is all speculation. All of a sudden, Minecraft updates are going to stop, and everything's going to go the route of Xbox 360/Xbox One version.
Jesus.
Hey, pay 1,600 Microsoft points and you can get a skin.
No.
Hey, mod makers, you're not allowed to use the source code of this game. It's owned by Microsoft.
God, no. Hey, guys, you want to play with your friends on a server? Pay for Xbox Live.
Yeah, or like, you have to use Microsoft servers only, and we're gonna shut down all other server companies, and we're gonna charge whatever we want because now we have a monopoly over Minecraft servers.
Well, you know what? That's naysaying. That's negative thinking. You can also think positively. Maybe someone in Microsoft. This is a reach. I understand. Maybe someone in Microsoft would be like, you know what? It's perfect the way it is. Let's just give it a boost with some money, even though they make millions. But Microsoft is $1 billion company. So Microsoft, let's give it a boost. Let's make free servers for them to play on. Let's make the world just put out tons of updates. Tons of awesome updates.
That is never gonna happen.
Shut up! I'm dreaming.
Hey Josh, it's already technically speaking free to run a server. Like I can.
Are you talking about like Hamachi?
No, not even Hamachi. I can turn on a server right now, give you the right IP, and you and I can play on a server.
Well, yeah, but you have to buy a server, is what I'm saying.
No, I run my computer as a server. I mean, I can only probably.
Oh, you have to open up your computer, but that's dangerous.
That's already done. Like, I already have the ports forwarded. Everything's fine. You don't want to play on a server with a bunch of people anyway, right? Like, does anybody?
Because I hate people.
Because they strip mine everything.
Yeah, if you're not playing on a whitelisted server, I mean,
and then griefing.
There's not a lot of exactly. There's not a lot of fun in that. Unless
but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying because I mean, if you get a good server though, then there's less issues usually.
Well,
just generally speaking.
Yeah.
But
so here's the problem that I'm seeing with this. Like not to detract from our server conversation and Josh's dreams. Here's my problem. They just released the game on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, PlayStation 4.
And it's already available on Android and Apple. I can't see how Microsoft is going to step into this environment and do so in a nice way.
Maybe Microsoft, and this is just harkening back to Facebook's acquisition of Oculus. Maybe they're not going to touch it. Maybe it's going to be like Instagram.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe, I mean, at the very least, just again thinking optimistically, at the very least, maybe they'll just sit on it, and they're just collecting profits off of it.
The thing,
like they did with Halo. I mean,
Well, up until the fourth one, but probably what's going to happen, like, and by probably I mean there are multiple different options. They can either sit on it, keep having updates come out for it, or what could happen is development for Minecraft pauses. Minecraft as it is after 1.8 is Minecraft as it is.
Oh,
so
God, no.
Hold on, and then in a year, you're going to get Minecraft 2.
No.
Oh,
Not a brand. No, they're. I will
And
not.
then at launch, you will have Minecraft, the biome DLC.
Oh God, DLC, son of a microtransactions, people, microtransactions.
To generate your world with crazy new extreme biomes from the original Minecraft that you saw and loved. Also, get crazy new biomes like extreme hills, and be able to choose where biomes spawn, and basically just
Seattle. You can buy the Seattle DLC.
Yeah.
Microsoft Studio.
Yep.
But I can. I don't know. I can't blame Notch at all because it's $2 billion freaking dollars. But but it's the end of an era. If I can't see it any other way. I try and dream, but it's just goodbye Minecraft if this happens. Yeah. Goodbye.
Well,
see, here's my problem with it. Notch has been vehemently anti-Microsoft. Like he was actually quoted as saying, "I hope we can keep a lot of free and open platforms around. If Microsoft decides to lock down Windows 8, it would be very, very bad for indie games and competition in general." And he was he actually tweeted back in the day, "I would rather have Minecraft not run on Windows 8 at all than play along with them. Maybe we can convince a few people not to switch to Windows 8 that way." So he's been vehemently anti-Microsoft, and then according to several sources that are 3 people specifically unnamed that have intimate knowledge of the talks between Notch and Microsoft, he went to them.
Yeah, for 2. But you're saying, I mean, I get he's being a hypocrite. I get that. And I get that he's just ruining this. But if you're just sitting on something, I mean, you created it, but then after a while, you're just sitting there doing nothing with that company except for making money, and then someone offers you $2 billion, you wouldn't take that. Everyone has a price.
Because I have the ability to look at long-term versus short-term gains. $2 billion is bloody fantastic, but how much?
Millionaire.
Right. So, but at the same time, he's already expanding. He's already expanded it into a fairly lucrative merchandising empire. It's no Star Wars merchandising empire, but there are a lot of people. Like, people are cosplaying as Minecraft.
Well, not only that, but there was actually a relatively prominent YouTuber recently last week, Pyro Puncher, who's part of the Minecraft server, which is one of the larger YouTube-based, YouTube creator-based servers on about Minecraft, came out and said it's really great how Minecraft is reaching so many people. Recently, my older cousin brought her 2 children over who had Minecraft on their tablet, and they were asking me how to build a circle. And so I was able to, I taught them how to build a circle, and then I also taught them how to build a TNT cannon, and they were having a lot of fun with that. But it's such a far-reaching thing that is affecting not only people who are on PC, which is what it was originally used for. It's on Xbox. It's on PS4.
54.
It's on
my wife plays
tablets.
My wife plays on her Galaxy Tab too.
How does that even work?
Hey, you tap.
Oh, God, that sounds horrible.
But like she plays it on that with her friend who we don't get to see very often, who plays it on her iOS device, her iPad.
And just want to throw out a stat, by the way. They sold just about 54 million copies.
It's something like the third best-selling game ever.
Yeah, it's ridiculously popular, and not only that, but think about the ways that we're going to lose a lot of the interpersonality. There was I found an article a while back that I wanted to feature here on the show and just couldn't find a way to fit it in. But there is an entire group of parents of children that have autism that use Minecraft to help socialize their children. Like their therapists are part of this Minecraft server, and it is by invite and whitelist only. But their therapists are saying, we've worked with this child for years and not seen nearly the amount of improvement that we have, or behavioral improvement as we have in 3 months of them playing on this Minecraft server. And this is this group of concerned parents. Like they went out, they run their own server, they admin it internally, like everything is done like that. And do you honestly think that a soulless, faceless corporation such as Microsoft is going to allow something like that to continue?
Not only that, but you also have to consider that a lot of people make their living playing Minecraft, whether it's like on servers or with mod reviews or however. Like you can name so many people. Like I can name a lot of Minecrafters like Ethos Lab or Generic B, BOO, Zisto. You can also look at Chimney Swift 11, Corrales.
Moving on.
We got all the different.
Like all of a sudden you have this large corporation who likes money.
Yeah.
Hey, you're using our content on YouTube, so you have to give us money for it.
Yeah. Or we're claiming your money for it.
But,
all of a sudden, Minecraft, the reason why Minecraft got big is gone.
Yeah.
Just to point out, $2 billion isn't just for Minecraft. It's for the entire company of Mojang, which includes a few smaller games and Scrolls, which is their current game that they have in beta. It's like a card collecting trading game.
Movie, the books,
all
the
sorts of stuff.
Opera. Yeah.
So it's a lot more than just Minecraft that they're paying $2 billion for. But I think at this point, I think it's pretty fair to say that if it seems like Notch just no longer gives a shit, and he's gonna go and retire somewhere in Sweden or wherever he's from.
He's gonna move to Tahiti,
and that'll be the end of it. But
I'd move to Tahiti.
I think all we can really do from now on about that is bitch. So we should probably just move on. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, everything turns out with the best outcome, whether or not they get acquired by Microsoft.
So the next thing that we have to talk about is, excuse me, is something that is the opposite.
The opposite of bitching is celebrating.
That one. The what's the word? Transitional creativity is lacking for me.
Segways suck today.
Segways sucking so severely. But my alliteration is not. So, anyway, Boston Festival of Indie Games happening this weekend. At the time of this recording, it will be tomorrow because we record on Fridays. However, by the time... So that's good for you guys who are listening live. However, those of you listening to the recorded version, this will have already happened because that will be on Monday.
Or Tuesday.
Well, usually Monday, sometimes...
Okay, so random side story before we dive really into Fig. You released this past episode on Tuesday, and because I don't really have anything that keeps my schedule set or sane, I was like, oh yeah, like it threw me off the entire day. Like all of my posts about it and everything, I was like, yeah, it's Monday, go check out the new episode, blah blah blah. Like I was convinced it was Monday, and then somebody was like, you do know it's like Tuesday, right, asshole? I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Boston Festival of Indie Games happening September 13th at the MIT Johnson Athletic Center. So it's happening at MIT. It's a celebration of the massive indie scene in Boston. So it's kind of like Bit Bash in Chicago, except this one I think is already established more than
Very
Bit Bash.
Established.
But again, this, I don't know, something... I love hearing about these things. I think this should be like in every major city in the country. Personally, that's just my thoughts. I'd love to have one in Philly because I'd so go to it.
I almost said I was having the exact same thought. It's like I'd love to see one in Baltimore. I'd go out to Baltimore.
Philly,
to see that.
I could do Baltimore too, or even Pittsburgh or Washington or something like that. Rev, you have like every single con out near you anyway, so go screw yourself. But this is by the way, this is also not only indie video games but also tabletop. So I know
I'm all for the advocacy of tabletop gaming.
Exactly. And at the end of the event, they give out these awards called Figgy Awards to the best games of the festival. And they have some really cool speakers. Voice actors Ashley Birch and Sarah Elmanen, I guess is how you pronounce it. And they have they're hosting a panel called "An Actor's Truth: The Future of Indies and the End of the AAA Everyman," which actually kind of leads into our next news story a little bit, but we'll get to that later. There's things about successes and failures of early access programs, creating family-friendly games. They have like lightning talks, or I guess, or shorter panels, I guess you'd call them. So yeah, this you go to the website. Obviously, we'll have that in the description if you want to check it out, and I'm sure it will list like different games and things like that. So that way, those of you listening to the recorded version will be like, at least be able to check it out and be prepared for next year.
Yep, definitely.
Absolutely.
And Boston Fig is a big thing. So shout out to those guys. But I did want to point out that they like this is their third year running it. So good luck on them for surviving this. But the more of these that are out there, the better the indie game scene is. Like if you really think about it, yeah, we've got people like us here on Indie Game Riot that are, we can talk about it. And you've got the online e-zines that talk about indie games, but that's not the draw of the indie game community. It's the interpersonal relationships that bring a lot of people into it.
Bringing people face to face and bringing fans meeting their devs.
Exactly.
Devs showing off their games to potential fans.
Hey, just saying, if we could run an Indie Game Riot convention, we would.
I've thought about that, but that's even farther past than the stuff I've talked about.
Just to bring you guys together in a room, talking and playing about it.
We'll start off with meetups. But anyway.
Right, meetup. 15. Set your calendars.
So yeah.
You are very ambitious. I like this.
Yes.
Have me.
There's not a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about. I just wanted to mention it and let everyone be aware of it, and that to at least keep an eye on the games coming out of the festival and be prepared for next year. Any questions or anything to say about Boston Fig?
Just at MIT.
Yeah, at MIT. For those of you listening to the recorded version on Monday / possibly Tuesday, and not in the live stream. We have a live stream, by the way. Details later in the show. Make sure to go back and check out which games won awards, and just check out the general merriment that was going on, because damn, is this a really cool show.
But wait, what? Our show is really cool. That's a really cool festival.
Yeah.
I think is what you're meaning.
Well, festival show, they're interchangeable.
It's an event.
Figure out your shit.
That's good. That's a good word to use.
All right, Rev. What I was talking about. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. The whole AAA, like the indie games and AAA moving away from that sort of stuff.
End of the AAA era.
Yeah, that moves into your piece, Rev. Take it away.
Exactly. So there was this little game that came out, and it was, despite being published on the PS3 and PC and the 360, it was. I actually would classify it more as an indie game than anything, because it was a relatively small team that was working on it, etc. But there was this little game called Spec Ops: The Line.
That's not a little game. It was pretty popular.
Yeah,
it was.
I have that game.
I think it's using little in a not
ironic sense.
Yeah. So it was, when it first released, was very little. Like, it had almost no day 1, day 2, week 3 sales. But then word started getting out that it had some fantastic moral implications or ethical explorations, as well as a relatively fantastic writing, and then it kind of exploded everywhere.
That's what she said. What?
That was a penile joke.
I don't know what you're talking about. She had a soda. Shut up.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Yeah, yeah. But the writer, the head writer of Spec Ops: The Line, has decided that he is now going to leave the 2K scene. And he announced this just recently and says that he is still staying within the video game community. However, he is absolutely leaving the AAA scene of this AAA side of things. So, and the reason that I brought this up when we were talking about news items was because this is becoming more and more of a trend. Like, I don't know if you've been tracking, but I kind of have. And the ones that stick out in my memory, there have been a lot of AAA developers that are now moving to the indie scene and saying,
we've seen that so much, and we've seen it over and over. We've seen that with Avalon Lords. We've seen that with Sumo Boy. If you want to talk about some of the more popular games that have come out, such as Outlast, that was all AAA devs that went indie.
And even like companies that have sort of broken the shackles of AAA publishers, like Double Fine.
Yeah,
right. Double Fine we'll be talking about later. Double Fine, they're independent.
There was another one that Cyan is now doing the indie scene now, sticking away from that with their new Abduction, which was a Kickstarter a few months ago.
I was actually having this conversation too with Wizfish a couple of days ago. Casey/Wizfish, who, depending on how you know him, and he was saying, well, there's people that specifically want to go into the AAA. That's what their goal is. So they start off as indies to build up their portfolio to go into AAA, which I can see people doing that. But I feel like I've seen so much more, at least nowadays, that because maybe that was true before. But it seems like
we're seeing the reverse. We're seeing people leave AAA to go to the indie because, in large part, I think it's because they get more freedom that way. They're allowed to explore. Like Spec Ops: The Line, I'm not going to hash on it. Like, yeah, I have my gripes with it. The control scheme sucked, and the controlling of the game itself was nice. Kind of muddy. But
it was nice that it was different from the normal war shooter because. Like Call of Duty and Battlefield, like celebrate the battlefield. They're like, this is like, war actually does suck.
Around people, woo!
Yeah.
This gun equals my penis.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's having the freedom to explore things, having the ability to go. You know what I think would be a really cool idea? We're gonna do this mechanic and build an entire game off of that. And you really can't do that in the AAA scene. You can't because they want return on investment and
too many shackles.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. There might be 300 million people that are interested in this particular mechanic or. Yeah. Whatever, but we want 700 million, and nobody gives a shit about your little awesome mechanic.
You can also go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing that's kind of a trend nowadays, even outside of AAA coming into indie, but just people wanting to do indies right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously because it's hard to get into AAAs, but also you're talking about job security. But also,
which doesn't exist in the AAA scene anyways, unless you're at the C levels.
Well, not even then. You get switched out so often. But what was I going to say? Oh, the fact that people. The trend is nowadays that I think it was like within 10 years, I think over 60% of our population is expected to be self-employed.
That's
interesting. That's a lot.
In different ways. Right now it's around 40% because that's the trend now. Because people, again, job security, and people don't like the fact that they have to work for assholes. To be honest.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there is the fact that there are people that just simply want to be the next Minecraft, want to be the next Braid, want to be the next Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
They want to have that super hit, that makes them millions, which I guess is a good of a reason as any, but, obviously don't expect it to happen if you're planning on going to be an indie. But, there's multiple reasons that this is happening. And the AAA, I think, is more about creative creative freedom and assuming that they're successful, job security in the end.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to fire yourself, so.
No, exactly. Well, the other, like, coming from the perspective of a filmmaker, which I am, and originally, as a kid looking at these huge movies thinking, wow, I would love to make those movies. And then slowly learning about the industry, realizing that the only time you are going to be important is, and by important I mean like notable, is if you're either the director, the producer, which you're never going to be, sorry, or an actor on the screen.
Or the composer.
Well, exactly. And because being a director, is A, hard, and B, impossible to become at this point, because everything is owned by the studios, you look for other options. So if you look at, let's use my favorite developer, for example, at least in terms of games, you look at Ubisoft Montreal, who is responsible for the Assassin's Creed games, among other things. If you work for Ubisoft Montreal, you are a number, basically.
In HR.
EA, Ubisoft.
Exactly, who types up code to make a game.
Well, also, it's Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, whatever.
Dare.
You go to meetings about the code that you're going to be typing. You type those few lines of code. You send those to a database, and they disappear.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you go from having this ambition to be a game developer to being a code monkey, typing up code for somebody else's game.
Right.
And on top of that, you might not even be an employee. You might be a contractor, so you don't get benefits. You don't have requirements for the hours you are given every week, and you aren't paid very well.
And I wonder how many of them don't end up getting credited at the end of the game. Because it happens in the movies a lot, I know.
I've only heard from certain people who've worked as private contractors for games, like for King, who makes a lot of the pay-to-play.
Fuck those guys. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right.
They are the bane of gaming existence.
Like, a lot of their employers are contractors who don't get good benefits and get really crappy pay and treatment.
Well, if you're a contractor, you don't get benefits. That's the thing.
Exactly.
An independent contractor, you're responsible for everything on your own. The 1099s are
yeah.
If you can pull it off, it's fantastic. Part of the problem that I have with the independent contracting, especially when it comes to anything that is technology based, is that and because I'm going through the job hunt right now, I'm definitely seeing a lot of this. People want to get the master of all trades that has 60 plus years of experience with the technology that just barely came out, or the new engine that just barely came out, and they want to pay them as though this person just barely got their GED because they couldn't graduate high school. And so a lot of independent contractors, and there are, I'm not knocking independent contracting. I've done contracts myself.
I am an independent contractor personally, with voiceovers and things like that. So
exactly.
So it is possible to do, but a lot of times you'll see they end up actually making less than if they were an employee of the company, and it's that twisted mentality of we're the company and you're a not employee of the said company that just it screws with my head. So I want to give out I do want to just say that I want to give out a major shout to Walt Williams, and say, thank you for leaving the dark side of gaming and joining us in the light.
And we're looking forward to what you have to come out with, because
definitely.
and just to add to his resume so everyone knows, he also has been has been involved with Evolve, which is coming out soon, and Civilization Beyond Earth, which I personally am really looking forward to.
Yeah, just little titles.
So, we've been talking about that for a while. You can tell we're passionate about these things.
It's important for us. It's important for indie games, and it's important for the community.
And I think it's important to hack and slash away the shackles of the AAA gaming industry to join the indie games, and I think we should all start a riot for that.
Have you ever wanted to make your own game? Well,
No.
this next game in Starting the Riot might not give you that option, but you can change around somebody else's. Yes, hack and slash.
Have you ever wanted to make your own game? Yeah. Well, you can't do it in this one, so go find something.
Hey, I mean, you're kind of close. Hack and slash. It is a game where you have a special sword that can change the mechanics of the exact game that you are playing. We're talking smash an enemy, change their health to 0, kill them, smash this door, unlock it. All these different options are available to you in this beautifully constructed game.
This beautifully gamed game.
Yeah, this beautifully gamed.
This is the best. This is the best description.
Shut up and let him talk, Josh.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
Good.
Published. I think this is published by Double Fine. If I am, or
It is a
developed.
Double
It's
Fine
both.
game.
It is a Double Fine game, both made and published by Double Fine. And if you haven't seen the videos that they made of this yet, you need to check it out. On launch, this game released, so you can start modding this thing now. Tons of characters, and by characters I mean you have a few characters. Lots of items and locations to go around. This is an adventure game, but it is an adventure game where you have to control the game and change it to fit your needs so you can win. The only way to win is to change it. Delete bosses and unlock doors with your sword. It's, I mean, come on. Like, what like, is this not an awesome mechanic that, like, have you seen this mechanic before?
Yes, when they first announced the game, and I was interested in following it. Like, I was interested in seeing how are you going to make modifying a game into part of the game, and like it blew my mind because like I've done the whole emulated stuff and like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna give myself an infinite health or whatever on the NES or whatever it was, and that did kind of always attract me. After you've beaten a game, I'm okay with cheating the hell out of said game. And like from the get-go, they designed this game for just that purpose.
Yep.
You don't even necessarily have to kill an enemy.
Dude,
or
I just-
change the hit points to 0. You could delete the enemy from the rest of the game.
I just got the wordplay from the title of the game.
Yes, the name of this game is Hack and Slash. Hack meaning hack the game. Slash meaning probably either a piece of code or actually slashing your sword.
Oh,
Well,
God.
So they had their early access release trailer was hilarious. They had a guy that was sitting there and he's soldering a chip and he plugs it into a console type system and then all of a sudden 2 FBI agents are kicking in his door and it's like, we're with the FBI and we're here, there's hacking going on. And he's like, well, it's not a crime, it's part of the game. And then he gets them to play it and they confiscate it because further research is necessary because they're now addicted to it.
What's even better is also the marketing of this game, brilliant. Because on their release on the 9th of September, they put out a video, full voice acted, but, in-game graphics where it's like, hey,
Cool sword.
And, yeah, exactly. And he starts, like, actually hacking the other dude in the game to make it so it's like, oh, man, I haven't written Lua code since college. Like, you hack him and you lower all the days down to 1 and it's like, but it feels like only yesterday, and he types out some code and like you can change his persuasion to help you. So it's kind of like being able to have max stats in an RPG, but having to know like actually how to use those, because when you hack somebody, it just comes up with a menu and it's like, oh yeah, so I can lower your health, I can do this, I can change how much you trust me or your inhibitions or whatever.
Just to clarify, this is a puzzle adventure game, correct?
Yes.
So it's not like an RPG necessarily,
Well, yes.
but it's RPG elements. But they're calling it a puzzle game first and foremost.
It's more RPG elements because things have attributes that you edit.
Right.
But
RPG comes to mind because of but no, you're right. It is definitely a puzzle game.
You unlock the RPG aspect. You unlock greater and stronger tools for hacking said game as you progress through the game itself. And it is also a puzzle because you can run into enemies that it is or situations in which your preferred most efficient method of hacking doesn't work. And so you've got to come across you got to figure out some other way of bypassing that puzzle.
Yeah. And as we were saying in the break to the live stream, this game is on sale for 33% off until September 16th, which is Tuesday, which might be the day this episode comes out if you are listening to the recorded version. But
you've got exactly 1 hour.
Everybody wants this game. I want this game.
But it's not like it's not like that sale really chops a whole lot. It chops like $6 off the price. It's a $20 game.
Yeah, and to get it on sale, it's $13.37 or $20 normally. And honestly, for a game that, as we were talking about, like crazy new mechanics based around a game, if this has been done before, it hasn't been as high profile, and this is.
I think the mechanic is cool, but I like especially how, because we were mentioning how it's a puzzle game, and then they turned it. Also, it's an RPG. Also, it's an adventure game. I don't know, all these elements together, and it seems, from what I've seen, to be blending perfectly.
Yeah, and it's not
on top of a cool mechanic.
Yeah, and it's not the boring. This is an adventure platform puzzle game. Which unfortunately is a very prominent indie game that a lot of people in the indie scene are really sick of. Yes, you can still make really good puzzle-based 2D platforming indie games, but these are mechanics that I don't think have been meshed together, and they're all really fun mechanics on their own. And with a developer with the experience like Double Fine, putting those all together, making a very quirky, fun game that also looks not only challenging but really compelling, is something that is definitely starting a riot in the indie community.
Right, and just to quick mention too, like their past games. If you for some reason don't know who Double Fine is, you're talking about Brutal Legend. You're talking about what's the game that just came out, the point and click adventure.
The Cave? Oh no.
Yeah.
The Cave as well.
Yeah, the Cave.
Was a lot of fun.
Oh, why can I not?
That point and click adventure that wasn't as well received
as people thought. It was it was funded on Kickstarter, like millions.
Wasn't it a Monkey Island type?
Yeah,
it was Broken Age.
Thank you, Broken Age. But anyway, you're talking, and Psychonauts and a ton of other stuff. But you're talking to Tim Schafer, legend in indie gaming.
His penis.
Well, there you have it. I think in order for that to
will suck Tim Schafer's penis.
I think for that to happen, we would need to go to a peep show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on the Peep Show, we've got a game called Crypt of the Necrodancer. For those of you who like dancing with the dead, dancing in the moonlight of the cemeteries or the catacombs,
or a tiny dancer,
or the what?
Hold me closer, tiny dancer.
Crypt of the Necrodancer is a roguelite, God, I cannot talk. Roguelite rhythm game, dungeon crawler. Can you? Let's just wait for everyone's brains to drip off the wall after being blown everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay? Now let's put that brain back into their skull.
Okay.
Put the bone back on. All right.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Yep. No.
And then let me say this.
Now put on your favorite track.
Let me say this. You can use a dance pad to play the game.
Yeah. Not only that.
Boom.
Are you ready? Are you ready for me to blow your minds again?
All right, let's put it all back in there.
I'll give you a second to put all your brain back in there.
Put it all back in there.
You can use your
I've tucked
MP3s.
Your own MP3s, people.
Wait, say that part again.
Your own MP3s.
Play this
Just
game.
rip my pajama bottoms.
Everyone, I don't even know. I wish. And again, this is early access, people.
Yeah.
We've had a row, like a consecutive weeks of games. I can't, my synonyms, my brain thesaurus is not working. But we've had this consecutive weeks of early access games that have been like, are you sure this is early access?
Are you sure it's real?
Are you sure? Because I'm not sure how much better you can get. But talk about something that's two games that are incredibly inventive with their mechanics. And I think this is the first rhythm game. God, I am so out of it. This cold is killer. This is the first rhythm game we've really actually featured on the show.
You're right.
Like, to truly feature, yeah. We've talked about a couple of them in passing, but this one, oh my god!
All right, keep your pants on, Rev. I know they're ripped up, but you know.
I'm trying. Like, my blinds are open, and if I stand up, like, my neighbors are gonna get an eyeful.
Just also, are you ready for me to blow your mind? Another. I can't even remember how many times we've blown your mind already.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yep.
And this is gonna blow some people's minds because apparently this thing isn't normal that we have to talk about this. But strong female lead character.
Boom.
What? Bam. By the
CSI just gives up on this case after the gore is spread across the people's walls.
CSI is like, I have no idea how we're going to scrape this much.
We're going to get a lot of press for this. It's just like CNN. Last night, Indie Game Riot released a podcast that to very few audiences, all of which have died from head exploding.
Now, excuse me. This is $14.99 on Steam. You can buy the early access version, and again, it can only get better from what it is. It's already gotten huge amounts of publicity from people just saying how amazing it is.
I would love to see them put our publicity on their site.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Hey,
it's that good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hey, Crypt of Necrodancer team, who I'm trying to find the actual name of the dev.
That would be oh crap.
Brace Yourself Games.
Brace Yourself Games. Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Ryan Clark. Hey, Ryan Clark, how's it going? Who runs their Twitter?
What? Oh, I was like, what? Yeah, Brace Yourself Games. Put us on your site because we love you. We love you.
Yeah,
we
seriously.
love you. So put us on.
Please love us back. No.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounded desperate, Josh.
It's amazing.
I know your wife just had a kid, but are you getting enough recently?
And this, anyway, Windows, Mac, and Linux, of course.
Yep.
Because why else would we talk about it? No, that's not true. But I know it's important to Rev.
Yes.
I'm not even sure. Like, we've blown heads so many times.
Yeah.
That's bad. We've blown brains all over the walls so many times.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what to say now.
Well, we could go into the main character, whose name is Candace.
Okay.
She is the daughter of Melody and Dorian. Dorian, cleverly enough, is a mode of the scale. I believe it is minor. For those of you who know music, I haven't played music in a year or two, so I can't remember the Dorian mode personally. But she is the main character as she is currently digging for she's basically looking for her lost father who has gone missing. And she is determined, if you watch the trailer for this on Steam, she is determined to find him no matter what it takes, risking death, dismemberment, and crazy beats to save him.
I want this to be a real thing. I want to go outside and have everything I do controlled by the beat of music.
Definitely.
Including chopping people's heads off, because I've felt like doing that many a times.
The rhythmic way this game works is like everything around you is determined by the music. So your movement, your attacks, the enemy attacks, etc. I don't know how they do it.
Could you imagine playing the game to like super fast techno?
Oh my god, this is like what's the game called? This is like Audio Surf, but for cool people.
Audio Surf, but awesome.
Yeah, exactly. This is the kind of game.
Not to say that Audio Surf is bad. It's just this just takes it to a whole nother level.
This is going to be a game that's going to be really hard to let's play because all of the copyright claims.
Oh man.
Well, speaking of let's play though, they do have their own soundtrack
which is probably pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
To steal one of Tech's quotes, an award-winning artist, Danny Bernowski.
Yeah, I'm okay with you.
Or you could just use YouTube's like free audio files.
They have. They've got a fantastic soundtrack, and it's so good. One of their top FAQs, one of their top most frequently asked questions is, "Can I just buy the soundtrack off of you?" And the part that it irritates me, but I understand why, because it's early access. They say, "No, you can't."
Yeah, you can't.
Because it's not done yet.
Well, just give it with the purchase of the game when it's fully released.
$9.99. Crypt the Necrodancer soundtrack on Steam.
It is considered DLC because they still haven't completed it.
Which
There's
means
more
tracks as the game progresses.
Exactly.
But don't take our word for it. Take Independent Games Festival nominations, Indiecade East selection, Toronto Games Camp Festival selection, Destructoid Editor's Choice, PAX Prime, PAX East Indie Mega Booth, among so many others.
Indiecade Brazilian Independent Games Festival.
Yeah. Like these guys have. This game is amazing. They do allow for monetization for YouTube and Twitch peoples, or Hitbox peoples. Sorry, I'm not gonna.
Because, if you stream this on Twitch, you're gonna get a copyright notification because one chord in one of these songs might sound like "Sees shoot 'em up, kill 'em up" or something like that. You're gonna get a strike and your video's gonna get muted. Twitch.
All right,
exactly
so
how they sound.
Tell me a little bit about the coloration of the game, like the animation and the design of the characters and the environment. I'm already a fan of. How does its coloration appear to you guys?
Very bright,
also,
especially for a dungeon crawler.
It also changes a lot. It has a very disco-y sort of feel with tiles changing colors
to
and
the beats and stuff like that.
Yeah. In terms of scenery, it's very sort of slightly more saturated grays and.
Well, no, you're talking because you're talking about dungeon crawlers taking place in a dungeon, so there's browns and grays and things like that because it's dark, but it's overlaid with these bright monsters. Even the characters like bright orange and blue, with bright yellow hair. Just off of the thumbnail alone, you can see a bright green slime, a bright orange dragon, purple tiles on top of the brown.
Yeah.
So it's.
Luckily, though, I think in terms of your case, Rev, the contrast is very stark to the point where you'll definitely be able to tell the difference between what you're trying to kill and like the different sort of disco light is the best way I can describe disco light tiles on the ground and the background. Like, I think that even you as a monochromat will enjoy this game, which is really cool because it's a very colorful, in-depth game.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Anyway. So everyone just take a deep breath.
No, my
colorblind people, let us know if this is going to be a problem for you. I mean, we're obviously not developers, but that input is very good. If you're listening to the recording,
collect your brains.
Yeah.
I promise we won't blow them anymore. At least
make sure not to eat the soup
minutes.
that has oozed out of your nose and ears.
I'm gonna have to have my husband stitch my pants back together.
Put them all back together, and is there anything else you guys like to say about Crypt the Necrodancer?
I showed this game to my girlfriend, who is very into like older school, like PS1, PS2 games that haven't quite hit the indie scene yet with the 3D adventure platformers. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't really care about indie games because they haven't made games that I've wanted, but that looks really fun.
What do you mean? She's into old stuff, Shovel Knight. Anyway, whatever.
She's not too into the SNES stuff, but we can talk about that after the show.
So they do. I will say this: they do have other modes than just go through the dungeon. I'm reading reviews on this, and one of the guys mentions the fact that they have hardcore speedrun difficulty.
Oh, God. Could you imagine that on a dance pad?
Oh, my God!
Those professional DDR players.
Oh, that would be awesome!
This would be a great if you could run this on a DDR like system with like the bar and the actual glass plate. It'd be the best game ever.
I'm sure you could.
I'm going to have to build one because we have a couple of dance pads for the Nintendo Wii because my wife likes to play DDR on the Wii. So on the Wii, and so I'm. Because of this game, I am so severely tempted to build like an entire platform and bar and everything.
We need to get a sponsorship from the developers and take this contraption to cons and have people try to play it on the insane speedrun difficulty.
Oh,
that'd be great. Like Indie Game Riot and I already forgot their name.
Crypt the Necrodancer makers.
Crypt the Necrodancer developers hosting a try to beat the game on an actual like DDR platform, and we could probably we'll figure it out.
Well, let's take a deep breath and let's try to calm ourselves down. We're gonna calm ourselves down by moving on to free fun,
action, puzzles, strike romance. It doesn't have any romance. Return all robots.
This is all man.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's robots and men, which is an interesting adult entertainment genre. But anyways, Return All Robots is this week's free fun game. It is free, unfortunately, and the only reason I am promoting this, well, other than the fact that it's an awesome game, you guys know me and my whole it has to be agnostic when it comes to operating system. Unfortunately, this is Windows only. It's a bit of an older game. It came out in 2010, late 2010 for the 360 and for PC. But they finally, they lost the code to the game and then found the code. And, in order to celebrate the fact that they refound the code to the game, they're releasing it for free.
How does one lose a code, to their video game?
Ever accidentally deleted a backup?
I might be able to shed some light on this.
Well, you made it sound like they were just like, where did it go?
As somebody who grew up in the early 2000s making movies and having programs be very fickle about file paths, you can easily lose things in a file maze that needs to be done for a certain program. So all of a sudden you start working in this new, let's say you made a new folder for all your programs, but then, you stop using the old folder. Then you don't know where the old folder is because it was somewhere in videos for some reason.
All right. So,
that's probably what happened.
Most likely. So, Space Whale Studios it released this action puzzle game, and the puzzles incrementally, wow, whiskey, incrementally get more and more challenging. You start off, you're just trying to get Mr. Blue Robot to get to the teleporter to exit that level. There are over 40 levels, and they start adding in things like there's pits of acid, or there's firewalls, or literal walls of fire, or there's the red robot that will kill you, and he operates on the same mechanics as the blue robots that you're trying to save. Here's the thing about this game. The soundtrack for it is so amazing. I'd spend all day listening to just the soundtrack, over and over. There's 19 tracks that I have access to on YouTube, I've been listening to it on repeat.
Did the dev make the music?
Yes, the team did make the music.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And it's high energetic. It's a lot of fun. The art style on it is kind of different. It's not bad, but it's not super highly detailed. This is you can definitely tell that this is a more indie game style game. But with the puzzle aspect, with the energy that the soundtrack brings into it, it is almost pants ripping worthy.
So, what are the controls?
The controls are point your mouse or move your character and then click. It really is. So the robots track you. They don't. As the training video so eloquently puts it, robots don't understand diagonals. So if you can cross one of the axes that triggers them to look down instead of to the right and then click, they will travel in that path. And that's actually, despite that being a limitation in their movement, you actually have to use that as a mechanic to try and avoid getting killed by the red robots.
So you only have to get the blue robots. The red robots are there just to fuck you over.
They're the security guard demon monster things that are bad. Yeah.
Got it.
And they've got other things. There's the super turtle guy that you can use to block off access to like lava pits or the acid pit, etc. So you had a question?
Well, I have a question. How steep is the difficulty curve?
It is not all of that steep. Within the first like 5 levels, you've pretty much got a grasp. Rephrase. Okay, so mechanically, the difficulty curve is almost non-existent. You can figure that out in the first level or 2 without too much of an issue. When it gets to the actual puzzle aspect, it's not super steep. They have a fairly well-defined path on it, but it definitely can get difficult if you're not paying attention to your diagonal reds or your diagonal blues. And yeah,
frustrated.
So definitely,
you can.
I saw this posted on the Reddit, and shameless plug, reddit.com/r/Indie Game Riot. I saw this posted on the Reddit. And I was really interested in it, so I mean,
well, it's free, nevertheless.
Exactly.
It's free, so I mean, what do you have to lose if you can try it out?
Yeah, it's free.
Download on itch.io. Of course, the link will be in the description. Anything else to say about this, Ro?
Soundtrack was done by Zircon, so shout out to them. And you can actually purchase the entire soundtrack. It's over an hour of 80s synth bliss.
Oh.
It's a bit more high energy than that. So, yeah, check it out. Have a lot of fun with it. I actually have more fun with the soundtrack than I do with the game, but that's because...
But when you put them both together...
it rips my pants.
Pants ripping action also happens at the end of the show. And let me tell you what else rips everyone's pants, especially talking about music. For those of you who are listening live... By the way, this is the end of the show. I don't know if I mentioned that. Outro. For those of you listening live, you're not hearing background music, but those of you who are listening to the recorded version, of course you have been hearing background music. That background music is by the very talented Cat Maestro, whose link will be in the description. Tell them IGR sent you and that you show some love. If you are an indie game musician or an indie game developer, an indie game anything that has to do with creating indie games, let us know, or if you know someone who does that stuff, let us know, because we love featuring talented people and talented projects. So, please have them email us anytime, or tweet us about it, and we can possibly get them on the show. I'll tell you about how to contact us in just a second, but first I just want to also remind you all that we've been talking about this Indiegogo campaign about how so we can enhance the Indie Game Riot to make it a better show for you guys listening, and as also so we can better help indie game devs in their projects and get the attention to it as much as possible. The Indiegogo campaign will be starting not this Monday for those of you listening to the recorded version, not today, but next Monday when the next episode comes out, next recorded episode comes out on YouTube. That is when the campaign will start.
I'm so excited.
For just a little,
I have some plans that I'll talk about after the show.
It's going to be about 35 days, the campaign, and updates. I'm planning on trying to get updates out there every day for everyone, And please tell as many people as you can. Donate if you can, even if it's just $1. But the most important thing is telling everyone about it, especially in the early stages of it, and get people excited about it now, because if people are interacting early, that means that there's a higher chance that more people will see it, and they'll get a feature on Indiegogo, all that sort of stuff. So please do what you can. Now, as far as contacting us go, if you have any questions or you want to tell us about some talented people or anything like that, comments, hate mail, I don't know, tell us about how your brains are all over the wall and that you're upset about this, you can.
I love mail, by the way. I just want to say, send me hate mail, please.
If you guys send us if we get legitimate hate mail, I will make a specific episode
of us reading out
bonus
hate
episode.
Mail.
Bonus
I don't condone any of this, nor do I.
That's because he's the one reading it first.
But anyway, for those of you who are listening to the recorded version, we do a live show just about every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, on hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. Those of you listening live, we have recorded versions with bumpers, gameplay footage, and of course that background music I was talking about on youtube.com/JaShinYa Gaming. You can tweet at us at IGR Podcast. Find us on Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. We also have a subreddit. I am talking about the Reddit. There you go, tech. Reddit.com/r/Indie Game Riot, where you can see all of the links that we also feature in the video descriptions. But you can also send us, if you have any tips or scoops or whatever you want to. You can also put it on that Reddit, as long as it's relevant to what we're talking about. And or even have discussions with each other, you guys who are listening out there. Lastly, we have a website that is hopefully temporary, because one of the things the Indiegogo will do is replace this website with an actual useful one. But right now it's igrpodcast.webs.com. There's a contact form. You can send anything to us through that contact form, or you can just email directly to JaShinYaGaming@gmail.com, and I will share the email with Rev and Tech. Any last words?
Other than
pajamas.
Make sure to clean your brains off the back wall.
Bananas and pajamas at Rev's house. Say goodbye.
See you next time, guys.
Have a good one, folks.
Toodles. You don't want to know, man. Ow! I just bit my tongue. Son of a bitch.
God, I heard that. Fuck.
Oh.
My God. Rev, did you hear that?
Yes.
Did you hear him bite his tongue? That sounded awful. Leave a comment in the stream if you heard him bite his tongue.
Oh.
That's so awesome.
Oh,
We've now crippled Josh's speaking ability.
Yeah, he's sick now. He can't talk.
Wow. All right.
I bit my tongue really bad last week. Do you guys remember that? Was it last week?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I bit my tongue so bad. There's blood and shit everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's hurry up before Josh kills himself.
The tongue bite heard around the world, or at least the internet, or at least Hitbox, or at least this channel.
At least the eastern side of the U.S. and parts of the western side.
Okay.